to the Brew Bucks Podcast, the podcast for the beer drinking enthusiasts trying to get better with money. Your hosts, Jake and Alec, interview personal finance creators, speakers, authors, real estate experts, and everything in between. There's nothing quite like having a conversation with your friend while sipping on a cold one. If you're looking to learn more about money without all the fluff and BS, you've found your new home. This is the Brew Bucks Podcast. Now your hosts, Jacob Wilhite and Alec Miller.
Welcome back to episode 47 of Brew Bucks. Alec, what's popping?
I've been sleeping really bad lately. And unfortunately, even after our great interview a few episodes ago with Alana, I just still feel like I just need to follow her steps and get to bed earlier. And it's like, I realized that sleep is such an important subject that people don't discuss enough. And it's really been in my head lately since that interview. And if you guys haven't listened to that interview, I highly recommend going back a few episodes. I believe episode 44. Because she has such good advice on how to sleep better. And unfortunately, I've not been taking it enough as I should be. So I need to apply that to myself a bit more.
I'm telling you, dude, you got to get one of these Aura rings. I don't know. I think they're pretty cool. Like, I remember, like, we were in Vegas recently, and it was so funny. Like, the next morning, I check my Aura app, and everything is just like sirens and alarms going off. Like, what did you do to your body yesterday? It's like crazy accurate. Like, it'll tell you the next morning when you wake up, hey, you must have eaten last night before bed because your heart rate was slightly elevated or whatever. Like, it is like a science, and they've got it down. And every morning it's like, I don't know, it's like a game with yourself. Like, hey, how high can I get my readiness score? Which is basically like your score saying, hey, combined with like yesterday's activity levels, like your sleep balance, heart rate, temperature, all that kind of stuff. It gives you a really accurate image of, hey, how are you feeling this morning? You know? And so, also gives you a really good sleep score and coaches you along the way. So this is not a sponsored thing, but again, just one of my new toys that I've been loving lately that's been helping me pay more attention to the way I sleep. And we spend half our life in bed, you know, and you can't expect to go on and have an awesome day if you're having a crappy night's sleep. So
yeah. So Aura, if you are listening, we're looking for some sponsors. Feel free to sponsor us. Send me one. I'll try it out. I'll rave about it all day.
So we today we interviewed our two friends, Rob and Melissa, the flea market flippers, and it was a super fun episode. So excited to share it with you all today. All about buying and reselling on eBay, which is super cool.
My favorite.
And yeah, so can't wait to get into that. Before we do, we're going to play one more round of nay or stay. Is this thing here to stay, or will it fade away? Alec, what's our story for today?
I have a really fun one because I think it's something that a lot of people kind of wish they had at their job. I mean, the average worker works 5 days a week normally. They usually 9 to 5 or maybe on the night shift, whatever, but normally you're working 5 days a week. Well, in the UK, so shout out to the UK, United Kingdom, they took part in a little study using dozens of companies, and over 3,000 employees participated into a 4-day work week. And I'm not sure exactly how long they did it for, but after the results came, pretty much all of the supervisors and workers decided they want to stick with a 4-day work week. And even 50% of all the workers said no amount of money would make them go back to a 5-day work week. So I think this is a big thing happening in the world right now, because even since COVID, people are working from home. I mean, I do think the 4-day work week is becoming more talked about, especially mental health is a lot more discussed nowadays. And it wasn't discussed back in the day. And we do realize like we are kind of working ourselves to death in some way. So what do you think? Do you think the 4-day work week is a nay or here to stay?
I think that work-life balance is going to just be a topic that continues to grow. And a couple of unique things about this study. One, everyone had to sign and say, hey, I'm still going to put out the same amount of work, basically in 80% of the time. And almost in every situation they managed to, I forget what the rule is or what the law is, basically stating like, it's like doing an essay at the last minute, right? Like
procrastinating.
Well, no, it's not procrastinating, but it's like you're going to get it done in the amount of time that you are given to get it done. Yeah. I don't remember what the study is or whatever, but I think that's kind of what we saw in that situation. It's like people just got the same amount of work done and 80% of the time and got an entire another day off, which is pretty cool. And I don't know, I think 2 days off, a lot of people kind of spend, Friday night partying, Saturday night catching up on or Saturday catching up on chores, and then Sunday dreading Monday, and so I don't know, I think throwing another day in there would be beneficial. And all of these companies also saw their profits increase, which is just, I don't know, it doesn't seem like that would be like logical, but all of them saw an increase in profit, and that's pretty crazy. So I think for companies to make big decisions and big changes like that, there has to be some kind of dollar sign attached to it. And this is, I think, was one of the last things that it needed to kind of knock the domino over and show, hey, we can even make more money doing this and give our workers a better environment and have less turnover and all that good stuff. So I think it is here to stay, and I think we'll continue to see more and more people adopt it.
Yeah, I think it's also here to stay, especially when you consider, I mean, you kind of brought it up when you only have the 2 days off. I think people do dread Mondays, and then they come in Monday and they kind of half-ass their job because they're still tired from the weekend and stuff. So if you give them that third day, I think people can be more well-rested. They're more willing to go into work because they had some more relaxation time. And yeah, I agree. I think, I mean, I know procrastinating is the word, but I was always a procrastinator. I did things the last minute because that was when I was allowed to. So I do think shortening that time does encourage people to finish the same stuff sooner because they probably could. They're not going to be like, oh, I have an extra day, I can put that off. They're not going to have that extra day, so they're not going to put it off. I think this is an amazing new idea that I really hope is implemented into more companies going into the future. And I definitely think it's here to stay. I mean, I don't think it's going to ever happen for, say, people working in the food industry and stuff like that. I think it's probably still going to stick with 5 days. But I think when we go to technology companies and like just office jobs, I think the 4-day work week is essential, and I think it's gonna be here to stay.
Yep, agreed, dude. So good subject, I like it.
Yeah,
but let's move on and jump into this awesome interview with Rob and Melissa. As you know, Alec, many of our listeners have aspirations of investing in real estate, but sometimes it can be difficult and overwhelming to get started.
Well, luckily there's Fundrise. Fundrise is a great option for people looking to dip their toes into real estate.
Fundrise's mission is to use technology to make high-quality real estate investments available to everyone at a low cost. With as little as $10, you can own a small piece of actual physical property.
What a deal. And if you want to join thousands of other people who are making money through real estate, click the link in the show notes and get started with Fundrise today.
Rob and Melissa, welcome officially to the Brewbucks podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Woohoo! Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Rob and Melissa, I am delighted to have you here today because I've been going to flea markets since I was a little kid. I've been kind of a flipper myself, not as extreme as you two, but I'm definitely more like toys and collectibles. I'm selling that stuff on eBay all the time, so I'm excited to hear your guys' story today a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So, as you might know, guys, we're going to start off each show by talking about what type of brew we are sipping on, whether it's a nice cup of coffee, an ice cold beer, maybe some electrolytes in there, who knows? There's something different about having a conversation with a drink in your hand. Our goal is to be able to provide some interviews and conversations with awesome guests while not taking ourselves too seriously and most importantly, having some fun. So, Alec, what kind of terrible joke have you prepared for us today?
Oh, man. Well, my fiance has been on eBay all day yesterday. And if I get home and she's still on eBay today, I'm probably going to have to lower the price. All right.
Okay.
With the dad joke for the day. So what am I drinking on today? I'm drinking, it's called Reverse the Curse, and it is by Original Pattern Brewing Company. It is a double IPA at 8.1% ABV. And yeah, let's give it a taste.
You really been liking these double IPAs at 10 in the morning. Keep doing this to yourself.
It's definitely, it's pretty smooth. It's not very boozy for 8.1% IPA. It's definitely got like notes of pine, a little bit of citrusy to it too, but it's pretty good. I actually really like it, and the can's kind of cool too. It's got like the dead moth. I kind of think of like Silence of the Lambs with that in a way, but yeah, I'm digging it. It's a good beer.
We've had a couple things by Original Pattern lately.
They've been killing it lately.
Yeah, they're awesome. Tell me a little bit about this brewery, Alec, that you have brought to me.
It is a brewery. It's called There Does Not Exist. They are located in San Luis Obispo, and they have been quickly up and coming to become one of my favorites. I don't, maybe it's just because they're making most of their beer clear still, which I really appreciate because I'm over hazies, but This is great. And this is a Pilsner at 6% ABV, which I'm kind of dumbfounded by because you never see Pilsners at that high of an ABV. So.
Yeah, holy crap. That is crazy.
And
All
it's
right.
called Owls Do Not Exist.
Do they name all their beers not exist?
I guess. I don't know. That's
Oh yeah, you can tell it's a little bit of a stronger Pils, but I almost kind of like it. Like, yeah, sip it. I think sometimes like I don't know, Pilsners they get like a little too dry, a little bit, like some of them lose a little bit of the flavor by having a little bit of a lower ABV, but this is good, dude. I would definitely drink that again.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Cool.
Rob, Melissa, I understand you guys are training for a half marathon, which is super cool. What did you bring this morning?
You go ahead.
Oh, I got some electrolytes.
Heck
Ooh,
yes.
there you go.
That
Really
should
power
help.
me. I did 10 miles yesterday, and yeah, I'm trying to stay hydrated for our run tomorrow. And yeah,
it was like 87 degrees yesterday, so it was a little bit rough. So
I'm jealous.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. We're gonna be doing ours in San Francisco, and I'm probably gonna need to wear like a beanie or something. I don't know.
I got some coffee, and it's instant coffee, and it's kind of my favorite, which is kind of sad, but I like it.
Hey,
Not at all.
I dig it. Are you a cream and sugar kind of person? Any flavor? Just straight up?
No,
All
straight
right.
black. I think that's why I like instant coffee, because I can make it as strong as I want.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like
The
it.
way God intended. I like it. I like it. All right, guys. Well, cheers. Thanks again for coming on. And yeah, we'll get into this thing. So again, we generally touch on a lot of entrepreneurship, but we also do a lot of personal finance. And so we really kind of like to start off each show by getting to know our guests a little bit better, specifically maybe what growing up was like for you guys around the area of money. Obviously, you guys got a pretty significant little side hustle here going on. And I guess maybe just kind of what inspired you to kind of lean down that road.
Yeah, for sure. So I come from a bigger family. I have 6 older sisters. I'm the youngest and only boy. My parents, to provide for us, they would actually go to yard sales, and that's how I got modeled at a young age. It was a side hustle for them growing up. They
And
would
also
go
for your stuff. For
yeah,
your family.
and well,
Yeah.
providing for us kids, that was how they did it because we were a big family. But they also, as a side hustle, they would go to yard sales. They would buy stuff and then they sell it in the classified section. This is before apps, before all that crazy stuff that we have now.
The
So
newspaper.
yeah, exactly. So I got modeled out at a young age, and then yeah, when I really started going heavy into it, probably when I was 16, 17, 18, and started getting really into eBay. And yeah, I mean, the rest is history.
Now,
Cool.
did you enjoy going to garage sales and flea markets with your family, or did you just kind of like bring me stuff home, or how'd that go?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
It
So
was
that
really you and your mom, right?
it was.
Yeah.
My mom was the hardcore yard sailor, and yeah, she dragged me along, and I have great memories of getting up at flipping early in the morning and before it's light and getting out and getting a newspaper, the classified section, and circling the yard sales that were close to us. And yeah, it was fun. It was a good experience for sure.
Nah, every flea market goer knows that if you're up there and if you're out and the sun's already up, you're too late.
Yep. You're out there with a flashlight in the yard.
Oh yeah, absolutely, shoving people out of the way. Like, let me look in this box first.
I love it. Melissa, what about you? Did you kind of get into it after meeting Rob, or how'd that work?
Yeah, I definitely married into it. I had I knew what eBay was. Like, I knew you bought stuff, but I didn't know. I mean, obviously somebody has to sell it, but I didn't really know like you could actually make money selling on eBay until I married into it. It's always what he kind of did. He went back and forth from like, that's what he did full time to side hustle. He flipped houses. He did a couple different things, but eBay was always like a constant thing.
For sure.
So it was I think when we were dating, he was in a duplex, and one room was all of his stuff and one room was his room. Like, it was all his eBay. It was his eBay room. And so then the other room was his, which was like, oh, this is just all the stuff you're selling. It's pretty cool.
That's super cool. I dig it.
I mean, so after childhood and everything, did you guys go into higher education? Did you go to college, or what was your path after that?
We have very different paths. So after high school, went into college. I just figured that's what you're supposed to do. So that's what I did. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew I liked health science. So I got a health science degree. I liked nutrition. So I took all the nutrition classes that there were. And I still didn't know what I wanted to do, but got my 4-year bachelor's degree. And then didn't use my degree at all. So
It's a common occurrence.
That's right. Yeah, we see that a lot out there.
I did use it a few years later for a little while, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, and I'm the opposite. Yeah, I barely made it through high school. I'm dyslexic, and back when I was in school, it wasn't really diagnosed. So yeah, I went through school thinking I was stupid all the time, not knowing how to read. I'm not a good reader, and I'm not good at book stuff. So when I got out of high school, I'm like, yeah, see you guys later. I'll never be back in another school again. And yeah, so that's my story, and no college. Actually, I take that back. I did go for a semester, and I waited like 2 or 3 years after high school, and I went for a semester at a community college, and just realized, this is not for me. I'm glad that I'm not doing this. And I dropped out. Yeah. After probably a month or two, I knew that I was not cut out for school.
Hey, I get it. Same boat for us.
Yeah, I definitely got a similar story to that, where high school was not my thing, and then I also did a semester of college, and I'm like, why am I trying to force myself to do this?
Yeah, trying to shove a circle peg in a square box, just not gonna work. Yep. I feel it. All right, so cool. I love getting to know you guys a little bit better. Let's kind of move into our main subject. So obviously we're talking all about flipping and selling on eBay, other websites, all that good stuff. So I guess let's go back to, I know we talked a little bit about you doing it as in your childhood, Rob. But how did both of you guys, I guess, decide that this was going to be a big time business for you? And do you remember or kind of have a story about the first item you remember selling on one of these platforms?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my turning point, I sold a Nordic Track ski machine. Are you guys familiar with what that is?
No.
Okay, so it's
an old school exercise machine.
It is. They made them in like the 80s, but people up north had them because of snow. Yeah. Exactly. So it's like cross country skiing, and
inside, but you just have your little machine.
It's an exercise machine, cross country skiing, but they have them up north where when it's wintertime up there, you can't go out and get a lot of exercising in because it's way too cold. They have these machines. Well, up north, snowbirds move down and they donate them to like Salvation Army or Goodwill, and then I could buy them for like pennies on the dollar. I buy them for $5. So one of my first major flips was a Nordic Track I bought at a local Salvation Army auction, and paid $5 for it, and sold it for like $300 and some within like
eBay, right?
Yes, yeah, eBay within like a week's time. And I was like, wait, this is pretty sweet. And I was working a job at Red Lobster as a host and making less than that every 2 weeks. And I was like, one flip and I can make this much money. Okay, I'm hooked. So that kind of was my turning point in the flipping arena.
The fire was ignited. I like it.
Gotta say though, those Red Lobster biscuits,
hey!
they're pretty dang good.
They are fire, that's for sure.
So let's name off kind of all the different places I guess you can go to source items maybe. So we've got flea markets, we've got yard sales, we've got thrift stores.
I'm sure you're on Craigslist Marketplace a lot.
Craigslist, Facebook. Am I missing anything? Any other places you guys go trying to find items?
Auctions are one.
Yeah, auctions definitely online and local.
Salvation Army auction is where he started a lot with his mom. He would go there all the time.
Yeah.
We don't really go there much anymore. I don't even know if they still have it. They
I've been there in years, but yeah, Salvation Army has an auction behind it in Orlando at least, and Tampa. They have an auction behind it for all the stuff that they can't fit into the store. They get so much donations that they would auction it off. When I was younger, starting
every day, right?
Every single day they did auctions, and man, you could get some really good deals.
Wow, that's kind of crazy. Are they still doing it every day, or do you?
I haven't checked in years. I quit going. Now one of the apps that you missed was OfferUp. That's one of my favorite apps. You guys should have it too.
Yeah,
but it's similar to Marketplace, and it's similar to that. But
that's his favorite place to source items, I feel like.
Yeah,
Marketplace.
And they've blown up in the past few years. OfferUp has been great for finding good stuff.
Yeah. I dig it.
And I'd also have to add to the like he went to the flea market when we started doing this, like legit probably 7 years ago. We really were kind of full time. He's like, I went to the flea market every single weekend and started to get to know some of the vendors. And then once you create those relationships, they're like, hey, I got my you want to come check out my storage unit, come see if there's anything there you want. So you create those relationships over a little time. It didn't even take that long. You're just consistent, and then you have some contacts that it's really helpful in the business.
Yeah. They're throwing stuff daily that they're coming up with instead of having to wait till the flea market. I have vendors that I know and personally know, and they're sending me pictures, text messages of stuff daily that I can buy from them.
Wow, that's
No,
kind of cool.
that is the best thing. It's like you never want to be afraid of asking somebody if they have something, because even if they don't have it on the table, they could have it in their van or in a storage unit. And no, I agree. Like I've made connections at people with flea markets, and I've gotten some of the best deals outside the flea markets just because they got my number and they're like, so I collect Pez dispensers. I'm a weird guy, so I've like over like 4,000 different Pez dispensers, and so I got to kind of sell other things to pay for that. And so people at flea market know me as the Pez guy, so they'll be like, "Oh, I got Pez for you," and all this stuff, and they know me as that guy now. So it's fun, and when you create that, it's an everlasting friendship. I like to think in some ways, so it's fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Kind of random, but have you guys ever like bought in a storage unit before where it's like, oh, we don't know what's in there? Have you ever taken that path? No.
I can't honestly say that I have. Most of our vendors at the flea market that I know, that's what they do throughout the week is they're buying storage units and then they come and sell it at the flea market piece by piece. And I personally, I like to pick what I'm picking and I can pay a little bit more money for it that way. So I personally just wait till they bring it to the flea market and then I buy it from them.
Yeah.
So I mean, when it comes to selling, I mean, just even look on your Instagram page, you're selling a lot of big items too. I mean, where do you kind of learn about how much all these items are worth? Like, it's kind of, I feel like when you're in this field, you definitely need to know a little about a lot because there's so much different things you can sell. You don't want to just kind of stick with one niche for selling. I mean, how do you kind of find out all the info and just learn about everything? Was it just from doing it for years and years, or are you always going online and reading up about random things?
It's a little bit of both. So your smartphone is all you really need for this business because what we do, the majority of our sales go on eBay. eBay has a completed section for the last 90 days. Everything that has sold they'll tell you what it sold for, when it sold, and that kind of thing. So before I buy anything, I'll jump on eBay. I'll type in the brand name, the model, and look at what's actively listed. And then I'll also go in and see what has sold in the last 90 days. It gives me a good idea of what I can pay for it and what I can sell it for.
What I wish eBay would do, and it drives me nuts, is I hate it when you go in there and it was taken with a best offer and it doesn't show you what that best offer sold for. Just a line through the price. I'm like, show me the best offer. Like, let me know what that sold for. And it drives me nuts. So
There is a website.
There is a website. I'm not sure what it is.
What
One
it
of
is.
our
Yeah.
moderators told us one time, and I
Yeah.
can't remember.
That
There is a
you-
website that you can go to it, and it will give you actually what it sold for.
You can type
Oh,
in
that's-
put in
that's good.
the thing.
The item number. Yeah.
I need to check that out. That's good to know. I didn't know about that.
That's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a system for pricing? Is it like, hey, I'm just going to try and undercut everyone else on there, or I'm going to take an average, or doing best offer versus buy it
Either in
now?
auctions or buy it nows. I mean, what is your most common way?
Yeah.
Buy it now for sure is what we
Buy it now?
99.9% of our stuff is buy it now. And our average price is about 50% of retail. So we know we can get, so if we can't find the comps, then we know if we can know what retail is, and then we can average about 50%, then that's what we can get on eBay. So, and because our feedback is a little higher, we can ask a little higher side of comps, whereas somebody starting out might have to go a little bit lower to get their stuff sold. And then as they grow, then they can ask a little bit higher. It also depends on the condition of the item too, but
And how quick you want to sell it.
yeah, and how quick you want to sell it.
Nice.
That's something I didn't even think about. Like, how does that play into I just get having good feedback on eBay? I assume that's, again, I'm not super familiar, so I assume maybe that's like having a good rating as like an Airbnb host or something like that. Is that kind of what it is?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So all the transactions, people don't have to leave feedback, but like we have over 500 feedback that are 100% positive. The thing about our feedback is we're dealing with prices from anywhere from, a couple $100s up to $25,000 with stuff that we've sold. And when we get positive feedback on these higher dollar items, other people who are looking to buy a $5,000 or $10,000 item from us, they'll go in and check and see, okay, this guy's legit. He's got great feedback. He sold this item. So it plays a big role when you're trying to up your game and go into higher profit items.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Do you guys have a favorite niche of items that you like to look for?
We've started to, I mean, you'll sell pretty much anything,
Anything.
but anything that's worth money and that's interesting. But we've kind of gone into more appliances just because there's a lot of money in them and you can get them for pretty much nothing. And if you're willing to ship them, that's kind of where our business model is a little different than a lot of resellers. Is we'll ship anything across the country, whereas a lot of people won't ship anything that is bigger than a box. So yeah, we ship some crazy stuff, and well, yeah, it lets us get the price that we need for the item.
Absolutely.
So how has been the shipping going? I mean, when you're sending a grill that weighs 2,000 or 3,000 pounds, I mean, that's not the easiest thing to ship. Do you end up, I mean, when you first started shipping large items, were you kind of like sometimes eating the cost of shipping because you didn't realize how much it was going to be, or has it always been like I mean, I don't know. You can kind of set the price to how you want to ship it, or they pay actual amount. I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to ask is, how has the shipping big items been? Because I know a lot of things can go wrong in that area.
Well, I think you should take it back to the first thing that how we got into the large items was you were going to sell this hutch. What was it? The dining set with the hutch you bought it for $350
Yep.
at an auction, and we were trying to sell it locally because we sold all our big stuff locally, and that's how most people do, for $750, and it didn't sell for like a month. And so we're like, okay, and this was right when we have like 3 little kids. We're doing this full time now. We got to make some money. So he's like, okay, well, let me see what it's on eBay. He found some comparable ones that were selling for a lot more, and so he's like, let me just list it. I'll figure out how to ship it. And then in less than a month, he sold it for $2,200 plus $500 shipping. And so he's like, all right, well, let's figure out how to ship it.
Yeah.
So we threw it on a pallet.
It covered our shipping. The $500 covered our shipping, wood, everything. And then from that point, we knew there was something to large item shipping. And from then we just got better and better and better. Now we've shipped hundreds and hundreds of items on pallets, to where we perfected the process to get it down. I mean, I ship something. Like I'm getting ready to ship a stretcher sold yesterday from Florida to California, and it'll cost me probably like $200 to strip. And it's going to be 8-foot pallet, 8 foot long, 3 foot wide, and then it's not very tall because a stretcher in the back of an ambulance, it folds down. But yeah,
sold for.
Yeah, we paid $185 for it and sold it for $3,200. So, but shipping, and he paid an extra $300 for shipping. I'll get it shipped right around $200. It'll cost me to ship from Florida to California.
That's crazy. So do you just show up to the UPS store with these things and they're how does that work?
So, yeah, freight is different. It's a different ball game. FedEx and UPS do freight, but if you try to get a quote from them, you're going to pay thousands of dollars to do it.
UShip is really where we started and found a couple companies near us, but that's really the best way to get some quotes and see what's near you. There's a couple mom and pop ones that'll do it too. If they're on their way, they'll come pick it up. But
UShip is what changed the industry for freight. They bottled all the different freight companies up in one place. You can go in and tell them where you're actually shipping from and to, and they'll give you a quote on it from multiple different freight carriers. So that's how we started years and years ago, and then since then we've just really honed in a process.
Okay.
Cool. Well, shout out to that. I've always been afraid of shipping large items, and it seems like that's where you guys' niche is, and that's what you're kind of moving forward with. So I'm jealous. So I gotta say, so we obviously went through 2 years of COVID. A lot of people were cleaning out their closets, started selling stuff on their own. Have you noticed a big influx on competition or other people going out trying to do what you're doing, and has that affected you at all in any way?
I don't think so. I mean, we didn't notice we saw an increase actually in sales during COVID.
Just like most people.
But I don't feel, I feel like some people who think there's a lot of competition is more like, I don't know, it's more like I'm not gonna be able to find stuff, but there's so much stuff out there that people get rid of every single day. And like the thrift stores can't even handle all the stuff that they get. We went to the back of one of the thrift stores to pick up something that we bought. And like there was a thrift store, I think it was a Habitat, and then it was like double the size of the thrift store of the stuff they didn't even have on the floor because they just don't have the manpower to put it out on the floor. And it's just like, it's crazy.
We have so much stuff in our society that I mean, you can hundreds and thousands of flippers, and we still can't really touch what's out there.
So I could see maybe some niches could get overrun, but then you could just always find something new to start selling.
We have the abundance mindset too. So, I mean, we teach people how to do this. We have a course and we're creating, that's what we get a lot of people who are like, you're creating competition. Dude, there's so much stuff out there that we train other people how to do it in all over the country and other countries too. So it's one of those things that we know abundance. There's a lot of stuff out there. And I mean, we pull stuff out of the trash and resell it because people just will throw it away and, might have something wrong with it. Might not. They might just don't know how to get rid of it. So yeah, it's one of those things that there is just so much stuff out there.
I dig it.
It's awesome that you're giving all these items a second life too, because I mean the landfill's already so full of crap that you're saving a lot of these things that they can get reused. I mean, it's nice not letting a pizza oven go into the trash when you can send a pizza oven halfway across the country that somebody opening up a pizza shop wants to use.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Do you guys have any other tools, I guess, that you guys use? I know like for people who do like fulfillment by Amazon or whatever, I mean, they can walk around with their phone and just kind of scan barcodes to see what's going to be profitable. Any tools that you guys use on a daily?
I mean, the smartphone
It's really just a smartphone. I mean, like I said, the biggest thing before we buy something is we look it up on eBay, because that's where we sell probably 95% of our stuff. Marketplace is the other place that will sell stuff sometimes. But if you have your smartphone, you can jump into eBay, see what's active and see what's sold. Those are the really two things that you have to know before you actually invest into something, so you have a good idea of how much money you can make on it.
And I think starting with a couple, like if somebody who wants to just get started with this and have it be simpler, starting with a couple things or hobbies you like you like Pez dispensers, so like that's where you start finding you can spot those items a lot quicker if you understand or you have a hobby or an interest in that, and then you can expand from there. Because I know some people walk into the thrift store or walk into a flea market, they're like, there's so much stuff I don't even know what to look up. I can't look up every single item, and that's true. So but if you kind of hone in on a couple things, and then you can expand from there, I think that helps a lot.
So I'm sure your arch enemy is when you go to a garage sale and you don't have service or Wi-Fi on your phone. You're like, oh crap, do I take this risk? Do I not? I mean, that's the worst thing.
That was like you had to do back in the day, though. He'd be like, you have your dial-up internet, you go buy you something, you come home and you come check in, see if it was worth anything, and then hopefully your risk was okay. But now you don't have to do that.
Now it's experience too. After so many years of it, I have a pretty good idea of stuff that I've sold in the past, or I looked up, or I know something about, and if I see a good deal on something, I mean, you can, from experience, you can really get a good vibe on something, to whether you look it up or not. But still, the majority of the stuff that I have no idea about, it's always looking it up on the phone.
And you can, there is a website that they offer for eBay, WorthPoint, that you can look up sell-through rates. You can look up like what items sell for. So it says like a subscription that you can get. We don't have one. We haven't really needed it, but a lot of people who sell like a lot of different items do have that, and they can look it up and see like how many items have sold, how often it sells, and everything about it.
Cool. That's definitely useful.
What's the biggest, what's the most you've ever made off a single item that just pops into your head that you can remember?
25
some stuff for free. Yeah. So what? 25,000?
25,000. Yeah. We bought a security tower
parking lot, like, and you go to like one of the what is it,
theme park.
A theme park, yeah, like a parking lot security tower.
So inside of a theme park, in the parking lots, they have this tower it's on a trailer, and it lifts up probably like 25 feet up in the air, and it's made for a man. It actually had an air conditioner in it. It's made for a man to actually be up there and be able to see over the parking lot, and if there's anybody breaking into anything like that. So we bought it at a local auction, sold it on eBay in like less than a month for $25K.
Bought it for $5,000, which is way higher than I am usually comfortable spending, but he usually proves me wrong every time. So
that is wild.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I wonder why someone would not try and resell something that big. Like that's crazy.
People just don't care. I mean, especially a lot of times when it's wealthy people that might have these expensive items, they don't really care about making another dollar off it. They just want to get it out of their house and buy the next newest thing coming in. So I even feel like sometimes being in more high-end areas, you tend to find these wealthy people are just giving these items away for free, and it's kind of a plus in some ways. So at least that's what I find. I don't know about you guys, but yeah. So
no, absolutely.
Our second one was actually the higher profit though than that. It was lower sale, was the bus wash, because you only spent $500 on that.
It's true. Yeah, $500 to $14,500. We sold that one. A mobile bus wash. Do you guys know what a mobile bus wash is?
No.
I'm assuming a bus that goes and washes your car.
Well, it's
a car wash, like
spins like brushes inside of a car wash, the old school car washes that have brushes. Well, this thing is like 10 or 11 foot tall, and it's one big brush, and it just spins, and it's on a pallet jack, and it's electric. So you walk down the side of the bus as the wheel's spinning, and it's washing and cleaning the bus as you're walking down the side of it. And we actually sold 2 of those.
Yeah.
We bought one locally, and then a couple of years ago on one of our road trips, we found one in on our last stop of the road trip. We found one, which I had to drive back the next weekend and pick it up because my trailer didn't have enough room in it. But $500 to $14,500 is what we sold it for.
I imagine you guys have great road trips. I imagine you're planning out flea markets along the way. You're finding that. So I know on the East Coast, there's it's like a 50, 100-mile long flea market they do along. I forget what it's called. I don't know if maybe you guys have been there or not, but I'm sure you have a lot of fun on your road trips.
We actually started with the 127 yard sale. It's like a 900-mile from Michigan to Alabama.
I think that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them like that, but that one's a pretty popular one. We did that a couple of years with the kids and have had fun.
It's fun. It's a blast.
That's super cool. So are you guys, I think you mentioned it already a little bit, that you're selling on a couple other platforms, but I think you said eBay, Facebook Marketplace, anywhere else that you like to list items?
Those are the two main places that we list and sell. Our items are the best market for it is eBay because it reaches so many people. I mean, there's tons of other Mercari, Poshmark, all those other.
Post, but still eBay always.
Yeah, the majority of them, they can't compete with eBay, so that's why we're kind of that's the number one place that we sell.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, you've been using eBay since the early dial-up days, like you said. Have you noticed in the past few years that eBay has changed a little bit? Like it's gotten maybe more fees and all that stuff. Like some people call it fee-bay in some ways. Has that affected at all your business model? Or you're just kind of like, it doesn't matter, we're still making profit. It doesn't matter if there's a bit more fees.
That's definitely where, like, what we say is your money's made in your buy. So you have to get these items cheap enough that there's enough room for markup. But absolutely, eBay, and they'll continue to change as long as they're the dinosaur. I mean, the force to be reckoned with. They'll keep pushing the limit. I mean, one of the newest things, if you guys aren't familiar with eBay, that they've rolled out within the last couple of years is promoted listings. So they have their fee based at 12 to 13% that you're going to pay for every single item that you sell. It's going to be 12 to 13%. But now they're wanting you to pay to play. So instead of just that 13%, they want you to click the button that says you'll promote the item. And when the item sells, they're going to show it to more people, but they started out at 1%. You could do 1% promoted listings. And now they're recommending like 8, 9, 10%
on top of your
top of your 12 to 13%. So they're trying to pocket over 20 some percent of the sale. And you don't have to do the promoted listings, but your items get suppressed.
Competition. Yeah, then
your item gets suppressed if you do not promote it. So that's one of those things that they're coming back with more fees. But at the end of the day, I mean, like the stretcher I just told you we sold yesterday, paid $183 or $185 for it, sold for $3,200. My eBay fees on that, I didn't promote it because it's a market there's only a couple listed of that stretcher. So anybody looking for one is going to see my listing no matter what. But I think my eBay fees, I looked and it was like $330 is what I paid eBay for the sale of that. That's how much money I'll have into it, and still make over, once it's all said and done, I should still make $2,700 on one single item.
Yeah. 100%. So just got to make sure you're building that into the formula.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
Buy cheap, sell high. So I know even going along with eBay is that they, most of the time, if there's an issue, they always side with the buyer. Do you have any nightmares for, say, when you've sold something and then the buyers kind of scammed you out of something and taken your money and the item?
I can't say that we do, but eBay has gone back and forth throughout the years where they've sided with the buyer, they've sided with the seller, we've seen that being in eBay for so long, we've seen it. And yeah, you're right. 100% now it is more with the buyer.
Especially now because they have managed payments. So managed payments took over where they're doing all the payments in-house, where before they would be like, push it on PayPal. And then either like PayPal would be the one to give you your money, or like they give both sides. And then now eBay's doing it in-house. So they care a little bit more about who wins the case. So they're a little bit harsher, I think. And they have lost some sellers because of it, I feel like recently. But you're pretty good at deal. Like if there's an open case, it doesn't happen all the time, but every once in a while, you'll get one that they'll try to. What's the one you won? The guy, he was going back and forth, and then it was an elevator cleaner, and he had altered the item. Like he opened it up. We think he was a dealer or something. He opened it up, and then like he's like, look. To eBay, he changed the item. He tried to fix it before even telling me anything's wrong with it, and then I think it ended up that he signed for it after he tried to say that he didn't. I don't know, and we ended up winning it. But
we won. So another one of our mottos is under promise, over deliver. Everything that we sell, we're not talking it up. We're not saying this is in mint condition. If it's used item, I'm setting the expectation for a buyer. Hey, please expect normal wear. This, even if it doesn't have a scratch, a scuff, anything on it, I'm still saying this is a used item. Please expect normal wear. Could have scratches, scuffs, scrapes. Every single one of my listings, I'm listing this in. I want the buyer to get this item that they're buying and be like, wow, this is in way better condition than you advertised it. And that's from years ago when I started. Everything that I bought, I was like, hey, this is mint condition, because I was thinking it was an awesome condition, and the buyers would get it and they'd be like, this is not mint condition. It's got this and that. There's rust on this thing. What are you saying mint condition? And I dealt with returns, but that's years and years of, this is the best way that you can possibly is under promise, over deliver on everything that you do. And you won't deal with a lot of people that want returns when you're doing that.
Like our description's kind of almost don't sell it, right? It's like, I mean, here's what you get. But.
Yeah.
Yeah,
returns are pricey too, you know?
oh, especially when the big items, especially. I mean, I know a lot of times on eBay listings because I'm buying collectibles and stuff. I always stay away from item as is because I'm always like, well, there's something they aren't talking about. But I'm sure in your case, when you're selling these big bulk items where they are when they are a grill or oven that's been used for so long, it's okay to put item as is because people understand there's going to be some wear and tear, and that kind of helps protect you. I feel like a little bit with eBay when you put that in your listing.
Absolutely.
And if we can't test something, or we'll even put it like untested or for parts and repair,
Yeah.
if something we think might work, but we aren't sure, we'll say for parts or repair, and people will still buy it because it's still worth it for parts. And then, it should work. And if it doesn't, then they still got it for parts or repair.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's cool. Have you guys run into any other like scammers on any of the other platforms out there by any chance?
I think scammers are rampant on Marketplace. Like Facebook Marketplace, you just like we post something and the amount, and it's been more lately. I feel like more like
they're picking it up for
they're
sure.
picking it up, and now after you sell so much, you can spot them pretty quick, but it's just annoying to deal with them. It's like they start a conversation back and forth, and then they want to take you off platform, and then you're like, sorry, I'm just on this platform. And then it's like, all right, they were a scammer.
And years ago, like we've dealt with scammers our whole entire career, but years ago, a scammer wouldn't get on the phone with you. They wouldn't physically like talk to you.
And had somebody get on the phone
like
with
a
you.
year or two ago,
Yeah.
I remember I was selling something on, I think it was OfferUp.
Yeah.
And the guy got on the phone with me and was trying to convince me, as he's trying to scam me, that he's telling me the truth. And
I paid you through whatever Zelle. Go check your account. I got an email saying that, like, it's just a photoshopped email. It's like, no, it's not in my account. I got the email, but it's not in my account. So.
Yeah. So there are
Wow.
scammers, there are definitely scammers out there. And yeah, you
But
just
they
gotta be
all
careful.
do very similar things. So once
They
you
do.
know, like, they're trying to take you off platform, they want your information, or they're going to tell you that they paid and it's not like they didn't really pay. They're just trying to give you an email that they paid for the item. So we basically, like, all of our stuff in person is cash only. So like
biggest thing is cash in hand. If you want to use an app, if it's like a higher dollar amount, don't release that item until you can physically look on your phone, see that money in your account, and that it's cleared. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not pending. It's not anything like that. It's actually cleared in your account before you actually give the person the item. Because that's the biggest thing, is they're trying to figure a way around actually giving you the money and then trying to take the item before you realize that you got scammed.
Yeah, great advice.
Scammers on eBay, pretty much once you get like your feedback up, even past 10, 20, they kind of drop off. They don't really like, they hound you in the beginning, but after that, we haven't gotten really,
No.
They're not very many. So
Yeah, eBay seems to be the safest platform when it comes to scammers and all that stuff. I mean, they're even putting in implements, I know, with like basketball and Pokemon cards and all that stuff, that they're going to go to only selling graded cards. So like fake cards can't be sold on eBay and stuff like that. So I feel like eBay does a great job trying to prevent scammers, but Facebook, not so much.
Yeah.
Wild west.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely. Come on, Zuckerberg.
Well, all this has been awesome. But before we, I guess, move into our lightning round, I did want to talk a little bit more about some of the ways that you guys are helping others get involved in this space. I know you said that you have a course and some other things like that. So, what are you doing to help other people get to do what you're doing?
Yeah, we have a program that we put together that started like almost 8 years ago now. We've been putting stuff on the internet, which has been fun, and helping people get started at all levels. We have a podcast. We have all the things to just help. We've got a lot of information out there. So yeah, I don't know.
Nice.
On your podcast, are you interviewing other flippers and all that stuff, or?
We do some just us. We interview some of our members. We interview other resellers, because there's so many different ways to do reselling. Like there's so many different business models. So like we have one way that we do it that works for us, but there's like so many out there. So it's a lot of fun to see the different styles. We actually hosted for the last 2 years the reseller summit. So we had like people from all different platforms, all different business models come, and it was a 4-day virtual event. And so it was a lot of fun to see all the different ways to do this business.
That is super cool. So what's the podcast called? Where can people find the course?
The best place to go is fleamarketflipper.com. That's where you'll find all the things. So that's kind of our hub for everything.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right on.
I feel like one day I'll see you guys with your own TV show, Flea Market Flippers, and it'll be great. You guys have good personalities.
Yeah, good energy. I love it. I love it. Any last minute tips before we move on? Or Alec, you got anything else?
Well, I asked what their biggest flip was, but I also want to know what their biggest flop was. What's the one thing you spent the most money on that you thought was going to make a buck, but it just did not? Or maybe you took it home and it was broken immediately or something like that.
Yeah, so the bus wash that we ended up finding, we were in the Outer Banks when we bought that bus wash. We had to drive home and get the trailer. Well, I'm always the kind of person, if you're driving to get anything, I'm trying to find some more stuff to
Fill the trailer.
exactly
Like,
make sure we're not going back with one thing in a trailer. So I actually bought 2 more items when we went back up to pick up the bus wash. I bought a range that was a killer deal. I got it for $200, sold it for like $2,800. So killer deal on that. But we also bought a bowling arcade, and I should have walked away from it when I got there. It was way better looking in the pictures when I got there.
And you know better. You
I know.
not to get attached to the items.
But we
Rule number one.
Yes.
I got there and I should have walked away and I didn't.
And it took us hours to load the thing.
I had to take it apart.
But
we ended up taking it all the way back home and I got it listed and got it sold. And I think I might have made, we sold it for like, I don't know, is it $500, $600?
Like $5 in the positive, but that was like
After
negative money
shipping?
after so much hours spent
Yeah.
on that thing. It was definitely not worth it. It was like a penny an hour.
Yeah. So I should have walked away, but I did not walk away. And that's a big bust for us.
And that's true. I mean, when it comes to reselling, you can't be emotional with something. You can't be like, oh, that's cool. I grew up with this when I was a kid. I'm for sure gonna want it. You gotta like keep the emotion out of it and just think dollars. So
And you like all those old arcades, like
do.
like want to have a game room of all the vintage like games and stuff. But yeah, you should have walked away from that
For
one.
sure.
So yeah, was it like an arcade game? Was it like explain to me a little bit more about what this thing is?
So coin operated, it was something that was in a bar, I'm sure, but
Okay,
it had
got it.
bowling pins that sat down and then almost like a shuffleboard table that you slid and it knocked down the bowling pins and that kind of thing. So it was,
And we've sold some arcade
We have.
stuff before.
I like
but
arcade stuff.
Yeah,
I love that stuff. So, but this one definitely I should have walked away. It was not in the greatest of condition. And after it was all said and done, but was, no profit whatsoever.
Yeah.
So this is currently your full-time job, or is it still a side hustle?
It was.
To be honest, we're spending probably 5 to 10 hours a week on flipping. The rest of all of our time is going to videos,
Content,
podcasts, coaching, all that other stuff. So we still do. I'll do this the rest of my life. I love it. I love the hunt of the deal. But I mean, now we're just helping other people find deals and coach them as well. So it's a blast. But 5 to 10 hours. It's really a side hustle. But like last year, how many items did we sell? Like 60 items.
Yeah.
We averaged like $1,200 or $1,400 per item last year part-time and did 60 items.
Nice. Well done. Alec, you need to fire up, dude.
I know. I'm kind of just stuck in my niche of toys and comic books and all that good stuff. And I know, I mean, you can name a superhero. I can tell you which issue they're introduced in. I'm that guy. I'm always looking at the boxes of comics, but I got to get out there more and figure out other big things to sell like you guys do. Don't get stuck in one niche.
Yeah.
It's fun. I like the collector stuff is really cool
I
too.
do
Like
too.
I think it's a lot of fun.
I mean, you guys have also been doing it long enough where I'm sure you're going to flea markets where you went, that's never going to be worth anything. And then 10 years later, you're like, crap, all that stuff's worth a ton of money now. I mean, I remember how many video games I used to walk past 15, 20 years ago. I was like, those are never going to be worth anything. It's old technology. And I wish I bought every vintage video game now. It's just
I know.
nuts.
What's the
Pokemon cards?
Pokemon, exactly.
Oh my God. Yeah. Pokemon.
I mean, I still
cards.
blame COVID for that. Everybody got bored and started rebuying their stuff back. Like you said, during COVID, I figured the whole collectible market was going to tank. It just shot back up. Like basketball cards, dollar bins, and now they're selling for $100 again. It's nuts.
Crazy.
And we're trying to teach our kids the Pokemon cards because they're into Pokemon right now. I'm like, okay, well, if you get cards, like we get them to the flea market or something, you find some, like look at the dates. I'm like, I don't like trying to show them how to look stuff up, see if you have something worth anything. So
Is it first edition? Is it shadow list? There's all those things to look for. But I'm already too late to the game to now care about it.
yeah. We don't know that much about them, but I'm trying to tell them, like, you need to learn as much as you can about these because if you come across a good card, you need to be able to know what it's worth.
Absolutely.
So
Passing it on. Next generation. I love it.
Well, also, I feel like collectibles kind of change too because I feel like once people hit that 30, like once they become 30, they want the stuff from their childhood 30 years ago. And I always think there's like this 30-year gap of collectibles where in the 90s, all the toys from the 60s were worth money. And now people don't really care much for the toys from the 60s. They want the toys from the 80s and early 90s because that's who's alive now buying the stuff up. So, I mean, collectibles come and go and it's kind of wild. It's a tough market to be in sometimes, but you guys seem to be killing it because people always need pizza ovens. They always need car washes. You guys have a good way of doing it.
I dig it. All right, guys. Any last minute tips before our lightning round?
No, I think definitely
covered
under
a lot.
promise under promise over deliver when you're selling. Definitely make sure your buyers are happy on that.
And start out with things that you enjoy, and it's a fun gig. Like, I don't know, and you learn different niches. And like, we got started when I started, really, I started with you, but I started selling some of my own stuff when we started having kids. Like, I got into the baby niche because we started having babies, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like some of these strollers are selling for $1,000. What the, like, who pays $1,000 for a stroller? So then we could sell them, like resell them for a couple hundred if you get them at the flea market and they're still in good condition. And so it's like, that's learning your different stages of life and different things.
For
it's
sure.
pretty cool.
Totally. I love it. That's great advice. Sweet, guys. Well, yeah, like I said, I think we covered a ton. So let's jump into this lightning round here.
All right.
Alec, what's our first question?
All right. What is your guys' favorite beer or beverage?
I would say my two favorite beverages are coffee and red wine.
All
Coke,
right.
What kind of red wine? You a Pinot? You're a Zinfandel?
Cab.
Oh, Cab
Cab.
Hex.
Got it. I thought
Cab,
you said
nice.
crap. I was like, any crappy wine? Okay.
No
It's like, if it's in a box, it's my favorite.
Oh, right on. Rob, any favorite beverages?
I don't drink, so I'm Coke. I'll drink Coke and water. Those are my probably two things that I drink.
There you go. What is your favorite books?
We listen to a lot of audiobooks. I had to write one we've
Yeah.
been listening to over and over again recently. Has been $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozy. So
Definitely got a lot out of the book, and I would second that. That's
What's
we're
your favorite book right now?
we're huge learners, so we're always trying to
Oh, you hate to read.
Oh, I can't read for nothing. So we're always it's audio. If we talk about books, it's audiobooks because
Same.
that's what for us to do 10 miles. Like when we did that yesterday, it's audiobook podcast the whole time. Most people are rocking out to music, but I mean we're trying to learn and get better at what we do. So
Multitask, right?
exactly.
The Mobile University.
Yeah. I tend to find it's easier running with a podcast or book too, because when you get music, it's like some are really high, some really low, and you end up like burning yourself out. When you just know podcast, you kind of the same speed all the way through your run.
You can get lost in the knowledge too.
Oh, absolutely.
That's one of the problems on our runs though afterwards, because he's like we stop, he's like, I got an idea, or he's like during while running, I have another idea. I'm like, just stop, we cannot have another idea right now.
I need to stop and take notes.
I imagine him trying to take notes on his phone and he's running into a pole.
That's me, dude, all the time. I'm like listening to podcasts, like I need to stop and take your phone out.
I do it. All right, guys, what is your favorite place you have visited or place you want to visit next?
Man, that's hard. We recently got into doing the national parks. So during COVID, the first year, we packed up. We lost our brother-in-law and packed up two of his sisters, our nieces, and our kids, and we bought a 15-passenger van and like went across the country. Went to like for a month of visiting national parks, kind of get everybody's mind off of everything, and kind of got hooked. So the last this year was our third year. Yeah. Of going across country, hitting up national parks, and we bring our trailer so we can find stuff along the way, buy stuff, and then and so it's a lot of fun. So we've been checking off all the national parks would definitely be on our list.
What's your favorite one so far?
Yeah, definitely. Grand Tetons is one of my favorites, and the Zion. We've done for 3 years in a row. We've done
Zion,
trucking up the Narrows. I absolutely love the kids. Love
Zion's my favorite too.
So amazing, so awesome.
That's awesome. Heck yeah. All right, last one, kind of a loaded question. What does retirement look like / mean to you? I know I think you guys said it, the plans to just never stop, but any ideas on what that
I'm
looks
doing
like?
it. I'm doing it. This is it. No, I'll do this the rest of my life. So we have a blast. I don't think anything would change, when we get to the point where when I can't lift stuff up anymore, I'll hire somebody to lift it up and put it on pallets for me. But no, we enjoy what we do. We get a good time. It's fun spending with our family right now, being able to travel and find these deals. It's just a lot of fun. So I don't know if you have another.
Well, I feel like retirement, I don't know. Like I see a lot of people, if they hit a point where they're going to retirement, you still have to have a purpose, and you still have I don't know. I just can't imagine not doing anything. So we enjoy our day. We start the day with a run, then we do some work, and I don't know, spend time with the kids. And I think that it's I would probably sleep more during retirement and not stay up so late and work and stuff. But other than that, I don't know.
Yeah,
I enjoy it.
I think it's also in people's DNA. Like when you are a flea marketer or a garage sale person, it's never going to leave you no matter how old you get. Like my grandfather was all about auctions and flea markets, and my father took me to flea markets. Now I'm still going to flea markets. There's just something in our blood, and it sounds like your mother had it, and it just carries on. Probably one of your kids are going to have it too. So
They'll be the one doing the lifting.
yeah.
Well, they spot yard sale signs too. They're like, Dad, there's a yard sale. We gotta go. So,
That's awesome.
I love the estate sales, man. You never know what you're gonna find there. It's like
Absolutely.
I love going in a home where it's just still packed, and I'm like, all right, let's see what they left in here. I'm like,
yeah, those can be really good.
For sure.
oh yeah,
Heck
So,
yeah.
cool. I guess one more time for people listening, where can people find you again?
The best place is fleamarketflipper.com. It's got our links to everywhere, a podcast and everything on
Yeah.
there. So
Awesome. Well, thanks again, guys. Like I said, your energy is so fun, and truly, so, like you can just feel the passion behind what you guys are doing, and I'm super excited we got to connect, and really excited to put this out there. So,
Yeah.
thank you again.
Yeah, this Sunday when I get up at 6 a.m. to go to the flea market, you two will be on my mind while I'm doing it. So I appreciate that.
let us know what you find.
Oh yeah,
For sure, guys. Thanks for having us on here. This has been a blast. We've had such a good time.
Absolutely.
sweet. Thanks, Rob, Melissa.
Take care. Alrighty, Alec. What did you think of our friends Rob and Melissa?
Well, I might be biased because I'm also a flea market goer, but I think those are my favorite episodes yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I just love seeing someone that shares a passion of mine where it is fun to flip these things, where you find used objects. It's almost like a way of recycling as well, where you're giving all these things a second life. And especially, I've always dealt with just kind of selling and buying smaller items. So the fact that they've created such a niche in selling large items, which I've always been afraid to because of shipping, has kind of shown me it's not that hard if you really just put your mind to it. Yeah, you might have a few learning curves, learning how to ship them, how to package them, but eventually that's how they're making so much profit off these large items that people are selling cheap because they don't know what to do with them. And honestly, them two together, they seem like a fantastic team. They both got each other's backs. They were bouncing off each other in the interview. And I don't know, they made me even more passionate about wanting to go to flea markets. What do you think?
Yeah, totally. They are just so much fun. It was a great energy the entire time. I'm super excited because my dad also goes to the flea market freaking every week. And it's like, I know he could do something similar. So hopefully this inspires him to get out there and maybe make some money from it, because obviously the money's there to be made. So
Yep, definitely.
but yeah, I think the concept is cool. The idea is cool. I know kind of like how they were saying, it's just fun. It's a hobby that is like, I don't know, there is that feeling of like being on the hunt for something, and like so many people just get like addicted to that. And it's cool that they've been able to find something that they really enjoy, that gives them fulfillment, that they can do forever and it not feel like work.
Yeah.
It's
And what I
just-
think is also a cool point is a lot of times we get people on the show where it's all about real estate, and some people don't have the money to put down on real estate. When it comes to going to flea markets and garage shows, you can find $5 items and flip them for 100 or whatnot, and then you can start building your income to maybe one day go down the line and get more into real estate. And it's a good stepping stone, I think, for that.
Yeah, totally. I dig it. One of my friends back in the day, he I don't know if it was like some challenge or whatever, but you start with a pen and you try to see how many times you can like resell or trade until. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I mean, it started with a guy on Craigslist years ago. I know people have done it since, but he started with like a big paper clip and he traded it all the way up to a car. I don't know how he
Yeah,
did it,
that's
but
crazy.
or maybe even to a house. I think it was like a small house. He traded all the way up to just boom, 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 boom. In the early days of Craigslist, I think you could do that. Now, people that try to do it are like, I'm going to do it on TikTok and get all these followers, and they're not kind of doing it for what it meant back in the day.
Yeah,
But
for
yeah, I
sure.
mean, if you have the passion and the energy to get out and trade stuff, you can definitely do that.
Yeah, interesting. But alrighty, cool. Thanks again, Rob and Melissa. You guys were a blast.
Yeah.
I think it's time to get out of here.
Absolutely.
Once again, thanks for listening to Brewbucks. My name's Jacob.
And I'm Alec.
Signing off.
Thanks for listening to the Brewbucks Podcast. Produced by your favorite financial coaching company, Left Coast Finance. If you're looking for help building a personal financial roadmap, or you just want to talk about great beer, and who doesn't, head over to leftcoastfinance.com.